So this is a part 2 of the video of horizontal translation. Before we did the vertical translation in previous video. In this one we're doing a horizontal translation. As we commented a little bit earlier about the general form of square root functions is y is equal to a square root of bx minus h plus k. So we already gave explanation about the factor a, b, x, but here we are concerning just about the h. To talk about the h is when, for example, we have a horizontal shift in square root functions. And now we are working with a horizontal translation. As we mentioned before, the parent function is f of x square root of x, the blue function, and those two functions here are going to be translated horizontally. For example, the red function square root of x plus 4, this function is going to be translated horizontally 4 units to the left. And the green function here is going to be translated horizontally 5 units to the right. If you remember, the translation of a quadratic function is very similar. If you want to find some relationship, you can find, because the relationship exists. So it's very similar. But those are two different families of the function, but the behaviors are very similar. So here is the parent function and the points of the parent function that lies on the graph. I took about 3 points. And as you see here, this red one is moving 4 units to the left, and the green function moving 5 units to the right. And every point in the graph here, let's say in the green function, is going to move 5 units to the right. For instance, the point on the parent function that is 1, 1, here is going to change it to 6, 1. So if you look here for the vertical coordinate of the point is in the same position. Here is 1, here is 1, but what's happening is changing just the x coordinate from 1 to 6. It changes 5 units. If I have 4 here, and you see the y coordinate is 2, here is 2, but because it's changing 5 units, 4 plus 5 is 9, 9 and 2. And this point changes 5 units horizontally. Here is 9 plus 5 is 14, and y-axis, the y coordinate of the point doesn't change at all. It's the same, 3, 3. And with the red function happens the same thing, but it's going to be the change horizontally for 4 units to the left, and here is 0, negative 4, and the point 1, 1 is going to change from 1 to minus 3 in this side, in the left side. And second point here is 4 and 2. As you see, the y coordinate of the point doesn't change, is the same. 2 is here, 2 is here, but x coordinate changes for 4 units from here to here, 4 to 0. And if you look at the third point, the fourth point in fact, is 9, 3, and is going to change to this point here for 4 units to the left is 5, 3, and the coordinate point, the y coordinate of the point doesn't change at all, is similar. So if we want to see a little bit of what's going on in the tables, we can see from the perspective of the changes in the table that happening. Let's say we have this table. Then when we create the points in the parent function, and previously we saw this table, and we know how we can find f of x and how we plug in those square numbers. So I'm not talking about it, but let's see those differences in function f of x when they translate 4 units to the left and 5 units to the right. As we said before, the y coordinate stays the same here, and the same stays in same in the all other two functions, blue and the green function is the same. You see, is the same. Didn't experience any changes. But what do we have changes is in the x-axis. For example, here went 4 units to the left. Here was 0, and 0 minus 4 here is minus 4, and the next axis here is 1, minus 4 is minus 3, and here is a 4 to the parent function and moves 4 units to the left is a 4 minus 4 is 0, and the other point is a 9 minus 4 because it's moving 4 units to the left is 5, and the other point 16 minus 4 is 11. So the new coordinates are now, the points are minus 4 and 0 that lies on this graph, and minus 3 and 1, 0 and 2, 5 and 3, and 11 and 4 lies in the graph of the function f of x or square root of x plus 4. Now we are going to the green function. This function is moving 5 units horizontally to the right. And if here is a 0, plus 5 is 5. Here is 1, plus 5 units to the right is a 6. And here is a 4, plus 5 is a 9. And here is a 9, plus 5 units to the right is 14. And here is a 16, plus 5 units to the right is 21. And the new points that lie on the graph of the function f of x, square root of x minus 5, are x and 0, 5 and 0, 6 and 1, 9 and 2, 14 and 3, and 21 and 4. And then I want to see those interpretation of these points in the graph, how they look. We already saw before, but we can see it again. And those points are interpreted here in the graph. The red graph has those points, what we saw on the table. Same thing here in the blue and in the red function.